Hello and welcome back to another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
That's right, and we are back from our summer break. We had plenty of time on the beach here, but now it's back to business as Stoke kick off the season with a loss. So there you go. How about that? And I think it's something like the first loss, first opening game loss in like 5 seasons, something like that. So if you're superstitious and all, obviously that means we're going to win the league this year. Right, so joining us in today's show, we've got Pete the Potter, all the way from sunny Stafford. Pete, welcome back to the show, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
for the invite.
No problem, mate. It's good to have you back. You were obviously at the game for the first game of the season, so it's going to be great to have your insight. And we might very well be joined by Canadian Al. He said he might come on the show, but it is something like 5 a.m. in Canada right now, so who knows? If he appears halfway through, we shall see. Right, anyway, so yeah, Stoke have got off to a rip-roaring start, obviously, by losing 2-1 at home to Swansea. But I think there's probably an overriding question as well that we're going to discuss in today's show. And has Stoke's summer recruitment been good enough, really? Obviously, we know that the transfer window is still open. We know that potential signings are coming in. In fact, there might even be one today, and that's first. But has it been good enough overall? But we'll get into that in a second. First things first, let's discuss the first game of the season, because it wasn't the result we wanted. Obviously, it's only the first game of the season. Sam, I'll bring you in first, being the co-host and all. What was your thoughts, mate, on that first game of the season? Were you surprised that we lost that first game?
To be honest with you, I wasn't surprised that we lost. Unfortunately, I've not managed to see the game from the weekend. So I was like, I've seen the Facebook comments and stuff. Everyone said that Bocat's goal was good at the start and that, but it seems like it's the same story so far as the end of last season.
Right, yeah. So Sam didn't witness it. I watched it. Pete, you were there at the ground. Before I give my intake, Pete, what are your thoughts? Obviously, being there, I mean, what was the atmosphere like? Were people seemingly positive, ready for a new season?
Yeah, I mean, it started. I mean, like most matches, you go there with a lot of positivity. The place was buzzing. I know there were a few problems getting into the ground, so a few people got there late. And yeah, we turned up. The way I was thinking about it is a bit like a balloon. We had a big balloon at the start, and we're really excited about this new fresh start. John Coates had done this message to supporters saying this is it, stick together. And I think by the end of it, the balloon had gone down, and I think that's the problem the club are going to face, is that we're losing patience. And whereas I think if we hadn't had a terrible end to last season, I think fans would have just said, "Oh well, it's just one of those things." But I think you quickly, it's difficult to forget what happened at the end of last season, and the mutterings on the way back to the cars were not only did we look the same, we actually looked worse. And I think there were people in two camps. There was this is it now, we're doom and gloom, and those saying, well, Rome wasn't built in a day. Lots of new players, they need to settle in, don't they? And what was clear to me is that Swansea were settled. They knew where everyone played, and their football was pretty good. We didn't know what we were doing with the ball. And a lot of the players barely played together. Galbraith, only his second competitive game for us. So I think that's the thing. We would just look completely disjointed, apart from the odd move, the odd moment. Swansea didn't. And it might take us half a season to get to where Swansea are, because, lots of players joining a team, great, but they've got to learn where each other goes and et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, I mean, it's one of them. I think it's for me, the first 10 games of a season, any season, can be a bit of a lottery. And obviously we've seen before with Stoke last season, obviously we got off to an absolute flyer. We were in obviously top of the league for a period of time, especially at the start of the season. We ended up finishing, worse than the season before, or pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So, the first kind of 10 games of the season for me can be a lottery, but you are right. You do want to kind of hit the ground running, I think, first game of the season. And I say, watching the game, it felt like you just said, Pete, that Swansea came to us with an identity of how they were going to play. And they were on the front foot for a lot of the game.
First 10 minutes.
But what was interesting...
We hardly touched the ball.
What was interesting was many of the goals came against the run of play in which they happened. So it's like when Stoke scored, it felt like it was against the run of play. When Swansea equalised, it felt like it was against the run of play. And then almost like when Swansea scored that second goal, we had a bit of a patch where, to be honest, if Sorba had put that ball either side of the goalkeeper, it's 2-1 Stoke. So I think that whilst I agree, I think we seemed a little bit disjointed. I wouldn't personally say watching it that we were worse than last season, especially towards the end, because let's be honest, we didn't play at all well towards the end of last season, and we went on a real dip, and the heads and everything seemed down. It seemed to me a little bit like that it was some of the new players sort of bedding in, trying to work out what their role is, and you're going to absolutely have that when you bring in any kind of new players. And we've brought in we've brought in players that predominantly in those kind of central areas, haven't we, really? So we've brought in, like I say, Galbraith, Ingleson, Graham at centre back, and then all of a sudden that's almost like your heart in the midfield, isn't it? And the midfield, we've got rid of a lot of midfielders, so we're going to obviously talk about that recruitment in a second. But I just think that it again, fine margins in football, and whilst we didn't dominate the game by any stretch of the imagination, I don't necessarily think that Swansea dominated the game. I thought they were better in the game, and maybe they deserved to come out on top. But I think that one of the things that stuck out for me was the Swansea manager, I don't know his name, getting on the front foot. And it was a period of time when Stoke were on top, just almost like towards the start of that second half, and we were pushing, and Sorba scored, and we didn't make any substitutions.
No, he went for the jugular. No, we looked down. We saw the three subs come on, and there's this big lad up front. Can't remember his name. The guy who scored the winner, and he looked really, really good. And of course, first touch he scored. And yeah, our subs seemed to be more reactive than proactive. And
100%.
Obviously, once we brought R3 on, it didn't really make much of a difference. I thought Sumari was okay. He reminded me of a slightly sort of slightly younger in Zonzi. He sort of his passes were accurate, they were forward, and I am looking forward to seeing more of him. So I think he could be hopefully used a bit more. But as for subs, we then looked down and thought, right, who else can we bring on? And oh my God, there was Gibson and Anderson and Pearson, and we were thinking, well, there's no one else to bring on now.
Well,
So, one of the things I made a note of was the squad depth. Now, obviously, sounds like today we are boosting our squad, but I think we've still got a little way to go before we can bring on players who are as good or not worse than what we've already got on the pitch.
This is it, Pete. So this is what we're going to get into right now. So we'll wrap up the game then. Sam, obviously, you didn't get to see it. Go and watch the highlights if you can, but it won't tell the picture of the whole game, I wouldn't have thought. And as I said, I think for me, the one of the turning points was maybe their manager being a bit more proactive, and ours was a little bit reactive on the day, unfortunately. And I think
one thing I need to say is that Sorba had obviously some chances, and his dribble work was pretty good. His crosses were really poor.
His end product wasn't great. Was it?
End product couldn't beat the first man, and he's got to improve that, especially if we're going to bring in this new guy. He's not going to get onto anything if nothing gets to him. But I also want that from both sides. So a Manor,
Yeah.
final thing, Manor first half invisible, second half better, but still just always cutting in, whipping it with his left. With God, I miss crosses from Junior. Wilmot didn't cross anything. So if the new strikers are going to score any, you need crosses coming in from both sides. End of.
Well, here we go then. Right. So that's our kind of summary of the game, I think. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments. Recruitment, we've got to get onto it because we've had a whole summer and who Stoke brought in and who Stoke got rid of. Okay. So it's to me, I think, okay, there's this potential we're bringing in this striker. What's his name again? What's his first name?
George Hurst.
George Hurst from Ipswich.
Yeah,
right.
Ollie Mers.
Okay, he looks like Ollie Mers according to Pete, so he's going to be singing whilst he's banging in the goals. So we're on about maybe bringing him in. Okay, there's a striker potentially. But then who else have we got? So we've got Ingleson and we've got Galbraith, haven't we? And we shared out 10 mil, wasn't it, something on one of them? Right.
Yeah, I mean Galbraith up to 10 mil. I'm not sure
up to 10 mil or something.
I don't think they coughed that up
and then
straight away.
And then we've got Graham that's come in at centre back.
Yeah. And Sumare and the
Sumare and
Josh, the big tall keeper. I can't remember his surname now.
And that's right. And a secondary keeper. And then who's left? Who's gone? So Baker's gone, obviously. We didn't renew his contract. Seko's gone. And from the middle of the park. And Zonzi, we never renewed his contract neither.
Phillips,
obviously, he's gone back from his loan.
To Borough now.
And he's ended up at Borough, which is a blow to, I know, a lot of players. Smith has gone out on loan. Our 5 million striker or whatever we paid for him.
Aus Deutschland.
Over to a second.
To be honest, that situation.
Second league, right? Okay, and for me, right, without trying to sound super negative, it's not been great, really, as a whole, in my opinion, considering that last season and the season before and the season before and the season before and the season before, and I'll keep going, the biggest problem we've had at Stoke City is the lack of ability to put the ball in the back of the net. Right? So, who've we brought in that attacking area? Because you can say that we usually play the same system that we play for ages, which is 4 at the back, 2 holding midfielders, 3 kind of like attacking midfielders, being 2 wingers and a number 10 and a number 9. Who have we brought in to play either on the right wing, the left wingers are back up for Sorber, a number 10 or a number 9? Who have we brought in? And apparently we're getting this first, but I mean, come on, Sam, bring you in. You've been obviously quiet because you didn't watch the game. What's your thoughts on our recruitment this summer? I'm just going to shut the window, by the way. It's dead noisy.
I think it's not been great, but I think the players that we have got potential to be good players. I just think we need more. I'm a little bit iffy about the cost of these players, considering I've not seen Stoke spend money in about however long. I can't remember the last time Stoke actually spent money on a player, and now we're spending 10 million on player. George Hurst rumoured at 6 million.
Yeah.
For this new striker. 11 goals last season. He's a target man. I think he's 6'3". As Pete said, he's going to need crosses putting into the box. I don't know. I know you mentioned about Millie and Manu not able to get crosses in. Sorba Thomas is better with both of his feet. So what happens if they swap them over? If Sorba Thomas was to play on the right and Manu was to play on the left, would he be able to get the crosses in better?
Yeah, I would argue that I made a note of that at least they should try it. And I know they have tried it a couple of times. One thing that people have been saying is that do we play 3 at the back with wing backs and put Sorba on the right? And I know people won't like that, but why not? But Bocat can't defend, but he can attack. You don't want him in the flat back four, but if he's a wing back with three behind him, then I reckon he can whip them in. I just think George Hurst and Boz and anyone who's going to go up front for us, it's got to be more than just curl it in and try and flick it. It's got to be cutbacks as well. You watch a lot of goals when you watch this EFL stuff, and a lot of the goals come from getting to the byline, crossing it back, and a tap in. Yeah, even Middlesbrough's winner against Lincoln was just a good old fashioned, smack it in the box, and Lancaster or whatever his name is just dinked it in front post, and we just don't do that. We don't do that, and that's what Hurst and any decent number 9 will want to do. They want to be there, just tapping in crosses. We don't want glamour goals. We just want tap-ins. Okay, but if you don't feed them, it's not going to happen.
Well, look,
is Hurst one striker coming in enough though? I think we still need to try and get another one. I don't think Gallagher is anywhere near good enough to be playing as a striker for Stoke. I don't think Boz is particularly good enough to be as a main striker for Stoke either. To be honest with you, I'd be going in for Cannon again.
Yeah, I'd go in for Cantwell, but I know he's not a 9. But Cantwell, I think, is a very bright player, and I think it's too late now for him. But as a 10, he sort of links play, links wingers, links number 9, and that's the sort of person we all want Bay to be. That man, but he's not. We know it. He knows it. Robbins knows it. But we need somebody. Like Cantwell, who can just sort of direct things. There's rumours about Smallbone, but I think Smallbone is another Sumari, Galbraith. He's more of a sort of deeper midfield. I think we're okay for them.
Just look at the game the other day, and you guys have just been the way you've just been talking. And it's like before, obviously mentioning some of the players and stuff that we're after. It's just the same old talk from last season, isn't it? Because should we just switch? Should we switch Sorba, our best player, from the left to the right, and then we'll put one of our players who's not performing on the left, or we'll put one of our players who's not performing up front. Thing is, like you've got something like I could name like the players that you've got Sorba Thomas. Take Sorba Thomas out of the equation. Who's got anywhere near him? In terms of that, so you've got Cisse did okay at times. He did all right last season, and I'm excited to see how he will progress.
Still a bit lightweight. I met him after the match. I had a chat with him after the match, and he's not too long for his injury, but he's not a big guy. He's very slight, and I do worry still, even though I'm sure he's beefed up a bit. He's a very slight player, and I just don't know whether he's going to hack it long term in this division.
But he's raw, isn't he?
We missed him. We missed him.
And the thing is, you can have hope for him. Now, you come into this season, and the ones who didn't necessarily fire last season, Bay didn't fire last season as a number 10. Absolutely not. Manouf didn't fire last season as a right winger, especially not compared to what he'd done prior to that. Gallagher was out for most of last season anyway, and when he came in, did okay. Bosnick scored like 1 goal for us in like the amount of games, and you can argue to the hilt that he runs around, but crikey, I could go do that. I could run around.
He's good at fouling. He's very good at.
Yeah, he does do very well in there. So the players that we've got in my opinion, aren't good enough at the minute. Unless they're going to get better, they're just not good enough, and that's for me just the crux of it. So when you look at it and you think, well, we're going to bring in a striker, and you think, well, that's fine, but we've brought in loads of strikers, loads of them, and loads of them. It's like when they come to retire. If you've got something like you've got 5 or 6 players in that kind of area that you could potentially play, haven't you? You've got Sorba, Bay, Boz, Galley, Manouf, Cisse, and then
Rigo.
And Rigo. Now, the other game, like last game, Rigo obviously got the assist. And it was actually nice to see a number 10 running past the number 9 and actually being further forward than the number 9 from time to time. And he actually laid the ball back. But after 20 minutes, that kind of seemed to drop off, and it felt like
his first touch let him down, but he recuperated and hooked it
recuperated, and
back.
he got the assist
for Bocat. But apart from that, a lot of his passes were not hitting our
But
man.
again, is he a number 10? No, not in my opinion. He's not an out and out number 10.
My solution would be to put Rigo back in Galbraith's position, and I personally would put Galbraith further up the field, and he did show signs of forward passing. A couple of passes went a little bit too long.
But maybe, again, Galbraith, Pete, he
got to
use it on the half turn. He wants it on the half turn in his half, and he was going to be good. Ingleson was making runs forward. If we played as a single pivot with two kind of like number 10s, that's an option potentially, and maybe that's what we'll look to do. But we're still like, we're still going to be playing, and we're still going to be like pass the ball to Sorba. That's what we're going to do.
It was they just put two onto Sorba, and he got past them a couple of times. He was fouled a lot, got very frustrated, which to me is sometimes a sign that what might happen if we keep, he'll lose his rag, he'll get sent off or want to leave. So again, too much pressure on one player to provide everything. So other players need to step up, take responsibility. And up their game. But early days. I'm not panicking, but we need to get some new players in, play hopefully in one particular formation, and keep it like that, so the players know and can learn who's around them and who to pass to. Because if not, they'll just, he keeps chopping and changing. There won't be any sort of progress.
But the thing is, I don't think he's going to ever change the formation from kind of what it is, because he's going to play 4-2-3-1, like 90% of the teams do. And these players will be used to playing like that. Like, it's not like they're not, I've never played 4-2-3-1 before, I don't know what to do, I don't know what positions to run into, I don't know where to receive the ball, yada, yada. I think that it's obviously, you bring two central midfielders into the team that are brand spanking new, and then they're so played together before and played in the team before, you can have some trouble. It was interesting what you mentioned, Pete, about Wilmot down that right wing, having missed Shamady. Are we all surprised that yet again we have another season where last season was like, we need a right back before the start of the season? We've got no right back again.
Yeah, I mean, it's apparently.
Ben Johnson. I've written it down. Ben Johnson today on loan, not the Canadian sprinter. In fact, Al could have told us about Ben Johnson. You two are probably too young to remember Ben Johnson, but the disgraced 100-meter Olympic champion. But Ben Johnson, a fullback, English fullback, possible loan. So we'll watch this space.
Right.
But we've not mentioned Graham yet.
Know anything about it?
Not mentioned. I know nothing about him.
No.
I know. I do. He's not massive. 175, so about 5'9", 5'10". But as a fullback, that's I don't think Junior's any taller than that. So potentially two from Ipswich in the next couple of days.
Well, I mean, you're right as well. We haven't mentioned Graham. I thought that he did okay. I mean, it's not easy to come in and replicate what the centre backs did last season, because the centre backs last season pretty solid throughout. I think
he did okay. I wrote down gung ho. That next to his name, gung ho, and by that I mean there were about 4 or 5 occasions where he came out quite a long way from his box to head it out, and either didn't head it out very well, or he clattered the defender, or literally the attacker jumped over them. And I think he's got to be a bit careful. He's got to think about how often he's going to come out and leave a space behind him, or whether just to leave somebody else to do it. So that's something I noticed. And I mean, he took out some of their forwards quite nicely outside the box, but I think he's got to be a little bit careful. He likes coming forward, notice that. So, it could be quite exciting, but I think first and foremost, it's got to remember he's a defender. But no, good prospect. I like him. Just needs a haircut. That's all.
I think I'm going to say that all of our new players, I'm not going to think even about knocking them that first game, because the new players in the team that you've not necessarily played them before. You've got to try and maybe get up to speed and understand it, especially in those central positions. It's not easy. And I think, to be honest, I don't think especially like Galbraith and Nicholson, I don't think they had bad games necessarily. I just think they were more on us, Swansea more on us. And again, you look at those kind of like forward positions and those attacking options during that game, where their central midfielders can release players and pass it to. You think, well, I'll probably just pass to Sorba and hope for the best. Because Galley, I don't know what was going on with Galley, whether he was scared. He looked scared going for the ball to tackle, because again, he's had all these injury things.
Yeah, he didn't win much in the air.
You'd thought Manuf would learn to use his right foot, but again, it just feels more of the same, sadly, a little bit. And I'm hoping I'm going to jinx it by moaning so much in this episode. And Stoke are all of a sudden going to sign like several players on the last couple of days of the season. I mean, they might do, because there's loans and stuff to come in. But yeah, so can we just wrap up by thinking, who do you think we still need to bring in? Any positions? I'll start with you, Pete, and then I'll finish with Sam.
Yeah, I think we'd say Saranara to Bay, hopefully 3-4 million, and then get ourselves another 10. Somebody who can just, don't have to be big, but they've got to be bright. They've got to be clever with their little 1-2s at the edge of the box and feeding the wingers. So for me, it's a number 10. I believe that we've got a fullback coming in, but for me, it'd be a handy little number 10 to replace Bay.
Right, number 10 for Pete is top of the list. Sam, how about you?
Striker, 100%. And I've seen rumours over social medias, and if I'm going to shout a few names, I'd be happy with any of them. Brandon Thomas-Asante, Ellis Sims, or Tom Cannon.
Any of them? Well, they can play. Thomas-Asante obviously plays number 10 a lot for Coventry, especially at the start last season. And look what wonders he did for Coventry in that number 10 role. I think you're absolutely right. And the fullback will be an interesting one, because for me, what Shamadou gives us going forward is similar to what Hoover used to give us going forward, which is that extra dynamic thing on the right-hand side. And Bocat obviously scored a goal the other day. We have to remember the fullbacks can get on the end of it. Hoover used to do it, and why not? And that's important. But as Pete's mentioned there, that number 10, so important to a team. Assists and goals is what you want from your number 10, in my opinion. If this Hurst comes in and he's up front, then he'll need support. I still think we're still 2 or 3 attacking players away from scoring more goals at Stoke, which is something that we need to do, in my opinion. But right, anyway, let us know what you think in the comments. We do appreciate your support. I've had a message from Ali. He's had trouble with his Canadian router, so he's not been able to make it on, but he will make it on again at another show. Probably at more of a sensible time for him, rather than 5 a.m., which is quite an early start to do a podcast episode, Stoke Fan TV. Thanks for watching. Do hit like and subscribe. Pete, thanks for coming on and joining us today, mate. Do appreciate you coming on and giving your feedback from the game. Sam, obviously, we will do another show soon, won't we, mate? Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Well, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Let's stop the Saints.
Yeah, and next game is Saints away. So, nice, easy game, that. Hang on. Let's see if I can see him. No. Oh, there we go. Right. Enough of that. We'll see you all again soon on another episode of Stoke Fan TV. Go on, Stoke.
Go on, Stoke.